Hello, beautiful wives. We are here again for another Respect There 40 days to a deeper connection with God and with your husband. So we are on There 23, and it says nighttime. 1 Peter 3:4 says, Let it be hidden, let it be the hidden person of the heart with the imperishable quality of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is precious in the sight of God. And she starts by sharing that 78% of 1,000 men answered when they were asked that they would still feel compelled to provide for their wives and family, even if their wives made enough money that they never needed to work again. And I thought that that was very awesome, because I definitely don't feel compelled to do that, right? But their men are just built so different than us. Yeah, and it's so beautiful that God has put in them this desire to provide, this desire to please us, this desire to live, to do everything for us, right? And it's just so wonderful to see them walking in that row and walking in that. So Alexis is the name of the woman she uses in this devotional. Says that she was driving with her husband, and he was showing her the new building where they were going to be, and he showed her, they came into the building, and he showed her this and that, and then he's gonna go and show her his office. And when she looks at the window sill, she sees the night that she had given him one day, that he was going through some really difficult time, and it was meant to remind him that he is her knight, right? And that he fights for a different army, that he's not fighting battles for this earth. And I remember the very first time that I did this Respect There, when I read this There 23, I bought my husband a knight. It's part of the There, right? At the end, and I did it, and I bought it for him, and let me tell you, he loved it so much. He had it where he could see every day while he was working, so he had it in his office, like right on his face. And then there were a bunch of little notes that I had written for him, like I mentioned to you girls before, that I had written him all of those respect little notes on little 5x, I think they're 3x5 or 5x7, I don't know, I think they're 3x5 little cards, index cards. And he had all of them stacked up, and like the knight was holding like the sword, and it was like away from his feet, so there was this little space in between the knight's body and the sword, and he had all of those stack of little index cards right there, between the knight and the sword. And it was so cute, and he kept that forever. And then one day, probably last year sometime, he had it for all these years, and when I was cleaning his office, unintentionally I dropped the knight, and it broke. So I could have saved it for him to see how broken it was, but I didn't. I just threw it away. And I left all the little notes right there, where they were, but without the knight. And that was the first thing he noticed, he noticed the knight was not there, and he's like, what happened to my little guy? She called it. I'm like, what little guy? He's like, the little guy with the sword and the shield and all of that. I'm like, oh, you mean the knight? He's like, yes. What happened to him? Like he was right here holding the cards. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I broke it. Like I dropped it. It broke in 1,000 pieces. I didn't think, it was worth saving, you know. And he's like, oh no, you should have saved it. I would have glued it back together. I love my little guy, you know. And I looked at him every day when I was working, and it reminded me of all the things you told me when you gave it to me. And it was so sweet, you know. And at the moment I thought, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go and buy another one, you know, but I didn't. I never did. It's been like a year and a half that he doesn't have his little guy anymore. And the little papers are just, you know, there leaning against the books on the back. And you know, as I was reading this today, I forgot about the little guy, and I forgot that that I had even bought it for him because I read this, right? As I was reading it today, I just felt so compelled to get him another little guy. So I'm gonna go and search for a little guy like the one he had before, and I'll get it for him, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. But yeah, that was very sweet, and it was very sweet for me to read this again and be reminded that that's where that came from, you know, and how special it was to him. Just like this woman says, right? Like, he kept it over there at the window, and he wanted to move it around so that he can see when he goes, he can see when he comes. And my husband treated his little guy the same way. It tells us, you know, the dare for the day is to write a letter to a younger version of us, and share, you know, reminding ourselves, sharing to pay attention to only please God, you know. And I haven't done my letter yet, being honest here. I haven't done my letter yet, but I will, because would I have been so attentive to this letter that I wrote the first time around? I think I would have avoided a lot of problems, you know, that I ended up getting myself into, just because of the reminder that I am here to please God and no one else, you know. And by pleasing God, I automatically please my husband, because that is part of what he tells us to do, right? So I really encourage you girls to do this letter and to get this little guy, this little knight for your husband, and just ask God to help you remember to live for the audience of one. I really love this there, and it was very sweet for me to be reminded of that night that I gave my husband, and have this, you know, desire to do it again. So I'll definitely show it to you girls when I get it, before I give it to him, and then share how it went. So that is it for today. I love you all. Have an awesome night. Bye bye. I'll see you tomorrow.